Welcome back to the finale play-ins. I am once again Painless, joined this time by Kingfisher, and that was quite the match that just happened. It was Space Tubes versus No Mama's Way. Space Tubes barely managed to close it out in a very attacker-sided consulate, 7-5, barely within regulation. So they get to play whoever wins this upcoming match. This next match that's going to be coming up here soon is Core Academy versus KARN. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this one plays out because these teams are much more different than the previous two teams were to one another.
Yeah, two very, very good rosters with some very big names on them. And like you said, a 7-5 last map, right? Very competitive, and we're going into what hopefully should be another very competitive matchup. Here's a KARN roster for everybody home. Gonna be Carnage, Zach, Foresight, Vic Bands, and Deity. So, as we said, very strong, a lot of big names on this side, definitely high expectations for the squad.
Yeah, most definitely. And be good to see how they match up against this team, the Core Academy roster of Soapy, Scary, Kaysen, Lucky, and Adept. Seen both of these teams plenty of times before. And yeah, it'd be good to see how they end up matching up against one another. I believe I saw what map we would end up going to. So should definitely be interesting. Something to note about Core Academy in particular, a couple things actually. First is that they are the only team to have qualified out of the group stage with I believe, a negative record. I believe every other team has managed to qualify with at least a 3-2 record. So they're really going to have to show off here to show that they do deserve to be here. Another interesting thing, they actually have a positive attacking win rate, which isn't typical for a lot of these teams. They have a 52 attacking win rate. The issue comes to their defensive win rate for Core Academy. 38% is their defensive win rate, which isn't very good.
No, it's not. Not the highest in the world, but they are starting on attack, so maybe they can get themselves jump-started a little bit here. We are going back to Consulate, so if you aren't tired of it just yet, you might be after this. A lot of the other bands rolling out. No Lair, no Cafe, both maps that have seen upticks. But yeah, they need to hone in on those defensive rounds, especially Consulate. This is a difficult map to attack. Even though they're a good attacking team, I think they'd be lucky to come away with the 3-3 split. It really doesn't go that way too often. So I think KARN may have an inherent advantage coming in here. Like you said, Core Academy are the roster with the most to prove, and they are certainly going to be ready to get started.
Yeah, most definitely. And well, KARN has played this map a couple times. They won it one, lost it once. Core Academy has only played it once, and they ended up losing it. So not the best record on Consulate for either of these teams. Would like it to be a little bit better, but we'll have to prove that they can make themselves better through this matchup, this best of one that they are going to be playing against one another. And we start the operator bends. KARN has taken out the Dokkaebi. Core Academy doing their attacker band now, and that's going to be the Blackbeard, very similar to the last match that we just saw. Very same operators getting taken out by either side.
Yeah, no real surprises just yet. Dokkaebi and Blackbeard, pretty much as standard as you can get, for a good reason, right? Two very, very strong attackers and a strong defender as well. Valkyrie gonna join the Navy SEAL brother there in Blackbeard taken out. I think it's a good ban. There are so many spots to hide those cameras on Consulate. It's such a big map that it's hard to check. Definitely a smart ban. This is gonna be followed up with the Kaid as well, so the operators like Azami, Fenrir is still in, should make for some very exciting defenses.
Yeah, and I think exciting defenses is definitely the word for it. Azami was not available in the match that we just saw. We're likely going to see some different strategies, maybe utilizing Azami at some point. I'm excited to see if that does end up happening. That said, Azami not brought this time around, at least for the first round. Top floor is going to be the name of the game for round number 1, as is the case for many teams. They've brought plenty of time denial with the smoke on board. They've brought the bandit to keep the balcony wall closed, mute for a little bit of information dialing. The castle, instead of the Azami, to keep some of these angles a little bit safer to play, so spreading out the utility quite a bit to make sure that they have everything covered, and you can see that even by the fact that I've brought the sentry as well, bringing the nitro cell to potentially deny a plant if it tries to come in through the CEO window, as well as a deployable shield. Here's to see where that's going to end up going. Might end up going in on the vending side of the map, but they have a good spread to cover as much of the top floor as they can. Attacking lineup seems very execute heavy, very vert heavy as well, to displace some of these defenders from KARN & Co. So I'm looking forward to seeing if it ends up working out for them. They got to try to make their way into the building first, though, if they want to really apply this pressure.
Yeah, Castle going to be very effective for slowing down this push, but they do have the operators like Flores. They have Adept with some hard breach charges, so should have plenty of utility to get it off. Bandit going to trick this first hard breach charge from Darnelius. Believe Soapy there on the side of Core Academy, if anyone was curious. Same with Hani being Foresight, so a couple name changes, but we'll try to keep them straight for you. And Carnage is able to get the first hard breach charge. They do have more in the hands of Adept and those impact EMPs as well. Until they can force a Bandit out, not going to push the issue. Foresight taking a little bit damage over on Yellow Stairs. Nothing major just yet. Core Academy looking to gain entry through these Visa offices downstairs.
Yeah, just looking around the map for somewhere where they can make their way in. I imagine oh, well, Scary has already made his way in, actually. He swung in at some point, tried to take a gunfight onto Deity, but he ends up losing, and now this little amount of space that Scary did manage to take is lost. That said, Soapy swung in behind Scary to get his trade, get his refrag, and so Deity goes down in turn. That's a 1-for-1 trade, and now they have the admin side of the map covered.
Good trade there from Core Academy, answering it back instantly. And of course, with that mute, Scary's just not able to make those Deimos trackers work for him. Minute 20 to go, so Core Academy making good progress. They already have the second floor offices. They're in this first floor pretty uncontested, but there is a lot of time wasting tools on the side of KARN & Co. They still have the castle barricades. You got the smoke grenades, C4 in the hands of Carnage as well. Definitely gonna have to up the tempo if you don't want to be dealing with this clock late. But from below should be able to get this bandit battery off, so a nice second angle could be open if they have anybody to go for it. I think it is Soapy who's going to reattempt to put that hard breach back on that wall.
Yeah, gonna get that wall open finally as the bandit has been displaced. He's not gonna be able to trick it at this point, and there you go. You just heard it. The balcony wall has been opened up, and there's still so much vertical pressure being applied by this bug. Tries to take the gunfight onto Vic Bands through the vert hole that he just made, but Vic Bands gets the better of him, shooting him through his own vert holes. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the map, Lecky is taking out KARN, opening up some space on that side of the map on Spiral. Zach retakes his position, though, gets the trade onto Lecky, avoids the trade from the other side of the map from Adept, and now the Adept and Soapy need to try to consolidate to come up with a plan in these last 15 seconds. Smoke canisters still ringing out. There's still one left on the board. Grim B canisters getting shot to give a little bit of information, but Soapy goes down being so low HP. Adept now in a 1v3 needs to try to get these last kills, but Zach shuts him down before he can even get the first. And that's the first round going to the defenders, as we would typically expect on Consulate.
No real surprises there, and the sixth man does the job. Not enough time for Core Academy to start getting that push down. I think Soapy going down inside of catering there definitely hurt. No real chance to put the diffuser on the ground. But with only 10 seconds, there is not much you can do. Core Academy can now attack the basement, so a little... KARN & Co. could just sit, just wait, and just execute on their defense. See what they can do on the basement this time around. Pretty similar lineup. They have the bandit again. Carnage was successful in tricking last round, and have to do the same this time to stay alive, but Scary on the ram should make that very difficult.
Yeah, so basement site open up to a lot of that vert potential. As you mentioned, Scary on the ram is likely going to rip open the floors of Piano and Exhibition to make it a little bit more difficult to play within Garage itself. You see it time and time again. Some players get stuck even behind the yellow pillar over by the yellow stairs corner of the site. You're going to try to use that to their advantage, except Scary ended up swapping off the ram onto the blitz. I think maybe instead they want to try to go for a bit of a roam clear through the map. Drones being set up on the Visa side want to make sure that they don't get caught off guard. Make sure they don't drive their drones into the Mozzie Pest. Well, ends up jumping it past, and a lot of players stacked up here. They might try to go for something explosive here in just a second.
They're going to be heading through this exterior wall down towards the lockers. We'll see if it works out for him. Zach is close, got 2 kills in the last round, running suppressor on the UMP as well, so that's how you know he's serious. See if the castle is effective this time. Already shot a couple of drones, but there is a player pushing downstairs in those Visa offices, and now the attackers are closing in. Zach starting to fall back very early, which is wise. You don't want to lose a player this early, and Core Academy is putting a mass amount of pressure onto this angle.
Yeah, a lot of bodies over on this backside of the map, almost none being put over on the main wall side, pretty much completely abandoning it. That's basically going to telegraph the push coming in from Core Academy. They need to make sure that they don't telegraph it too much, maybe send somebody in for a backstab, maybe try to get a pick here or there, but the Scary tries to ADS with the blitz onto the castle, who has an ACOG at long range, and that's really not going to end up working. He loses his life for it. That's a lot of the pushing power gone. That's a lot of the potential to just brute force their way into the site gone. And they'll try to make their way up to get some trades. A trade goes back and forth. The Mozzie goes down after the castle had already left that position. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication. Regardless, minute 15 left in the round. Adept has pushed his way all the way up into Coffee. They need to be careful about this castle hiding in the corner.
Zach can go really big here. They have a 1-man advantage, so can afford to play a little bit more aggressively if he wants to. Carnage close by as well can provide a trade back if Zach goes down, but Zach's not going to go down. He's going to get a double onto Adept. Soapy pushing up as well, barely going to miss a shot to the UMP. Don't even know if he ever saw him. Is now it's going to be Kaysen, the next man up into the main hallway. Well, Soapy tries to deal with Carnage here on the other side. Now it's all up to Soapy. Call it a triple kill for Zach. Looking for a 4th, but already down, so no quad kill on the table with a big push here from Vic Bands. Can't land the shots, but neither can Soapy. They go down, and Zach will get the quad of KARN & Co. off to a hot 2-0 start.
Yeah, really nice stuff out of them. Scary, I don't think should have ADS'd onto Zach, especially at the range that they were at. I wouldn't advise trying to fight a pixelated angle with a pistol. Not really smart. He ended up isolating himself, and at that point, the man advantage just, yeah, there it is. The man advantage just kind of snowballs from there. They tried to retake up top and play a little bit of the trade game, but Zach was just too strong in this round. He manages to pick up a number of kills. He's already up 6-0 at just 2 rounds. So Core Academy is going to need to try to shut that down as soon as possible. Make sure that they don't snowball, make it even worse for themselves. And something that I would like to see out of them is... what's the word? I don't want them to let themselves keep getting isolated and pinched out. I've noticed in a lot of their games so far that has been the main issue, especially on defense as well. They let themselves get isolated, they let themselves get pinched, and it shows.
Yeah, trade's going to be in the name of the game here. If Core Academy want to keep up with KARN & Co., very accomplished team, and seeing why early here. And Zach sitting at 6-0, doing an incredible job stepping up for the team here for KARN & Co. So we downstairs, and we are going to be attacking just the all first floor site. No split site today from KARN & Co. So we'll see how Core Academy attacks this one normally. Off from the other side, Visa offices again, which they've been taken fairly early in both of their rounds, but just unable to translate it to a victory just yet. But Adept is in, and Scary's on the window as well. Can be finding some early encounters here as Deity is holding inside a meeting room, just waiting for the Ash to swing in, and there Ash goes behind a wall, though. Will encounter Adept first, who is still pushing up into this hallway.
Some early pressure with a minute gone already out of the round. Needs to be careful for both of these teams, or both of the players here, to not over-aggress too much. And, well, Kaysen takes down Zach, who was maybe feeling himself a little bit from the last 2 rounds, and, well, gets caught off guard. Unfortunate for him. You'd like to see that if you're Core Academy. They now have the man advantage that they can work with, Nitro self-prepped around the window, could catch somebody off guard, and there it is. Foresight takes down Soapy, who was none the wiser of the Nitro ripped onto the projector window, and another one, a really long angle with the SMG-12 onto Scary, all the way over into Break Room. 2 quick kills coming out of Foresight brings the man advantage back into their favor, and now less than half the round is left to go.
This is where Core Academy got to settle down and settle in. You don't want to lose that man advantage. Don't want to let it slide any further. Lucky playing here on the front desk could provide a nice cross for Kaysen, who's going to get his second of the round. There goes Foresight, but traded out immediately by Deity. Lucky with one. Adept gets a trade for Kaysen, and now it's a 2v1 in favor of Core Academy, but Adept just on one shot, so Carnage still with a good chance of winning this round. They got to go back to pick up the diffuser, so that'll stall a couple of seconds. And with 50, they have more than enough time, but the problem is, looking at the Grim, I don't think they know where this Legion is.
No, definitely not. And as they're moving into this last 40 seconds of the round, they do still have they don't have too many drones to work with. I don't know if either of those are in the pockets of the 2 live players, but they need to be careful peeking this vert, and Adept goes down to KARN, playing it perfectly, isolating the 1v1, and now he needs to isolate this next 1v1. I say isolate, he really just needs to win it at this point with 20 seconds left. Lucky needs to try to make a move. I think he's going to try to mass some sound or maybe something with the Flores drone. Maybe use the stun grenades. It doesn't have any left, actually. There it is. Flores drone comes through. The drop comes through eventually, and KARN takes him down. A really nice 1v2 played by KARN. Gets the round over the line on this tertiary site.
Great hold there by Carnage in the end. And yeah, just like we were saying, no intel, no chance. Core Academy lose Adept early, and then there's nothing they can do with 50 seconds left. Camera's still up, not enough intel. Just forced to drop that hatch in a very unsavory scenario. So now KARN & Co. up 3-0, and you know, I think luckily for Core Academy, this isn't like incredibly out of the ordinary, right? This map is extremely defender-sided. It's not uncommon for defenders to take a 3-0 lead, but when your advantage is offense, when you're not as good as defense, like Core Academy is, this can become a really concerning stat line. Definitely need to see them pick up a couple rounds here. Last time they attacked upstairs, they did a really nice job getting control of office early, but then just folded while walking into the site. Can't let that happen again.
Now we're going into the second quarter, moving back up to the top floor. I think a little bit of a different kind of defender lineup coming out from KARN & Co. this time around. I think the Bandit, the Sentry, and the Smoke are all the same, but this time they have brought the Ella and they've brought the Goyo. A little bit of extra time denial, area denial, a little bit more information, and the potential of if maybe there was a shield being brought to kind of disrupt that a little bit with the Ella mines to kind of double up with the smoke canisters. But what's happening here? Rehost, I see. I think Kaysen might be lagging out based on just the POV that we just had. Getting called at the start of the round. Hopefully get an answer on how this is going to work. Game crashed. Sent before 240. Might need an answer soon, but there's the crash coming through. We're probably going to see a rehost. There it is. It's confirmed, and all right.
There we go.
There it is. All right.
Yeah, and you know, I think this is hopefully at least going to work out a little bit for Core Academy here. Obviously, you don't like DCing, but now you got a minute to settle down, talk things over between yourselves, which I think they probably need. You know, it has not been the best start. So anything you can do to get that turned around, definitely a good move here. Yeah, just breathing room, right? They're a good attacking team, and these rounds have been close, right? They have not been stomps. Even on the rounds where KARN & Co. had a couple people left alive at the end, it really wasn't that far off. A lot of kills just barely going to their side. You know, Core Academy just not with enough time, not with enough resources, whatever it may be. Very much still in the cards for them to grab a couple rounds here before we go into the side swap.
And yeah, being that the rehost was so early in the round, I imagine not too much of either team's hand was given away. That's probably a good thing for both teams, but it seems like we're going to need a little bit of a break here just to get things back underway. We'll try to get things back as soon as possible, but stay tuned. We'll be back.
Welcome back, everybody. Should be getting out of this technical timeout very, very soon. And of course, for anyone that doesn't remember, the first 3 rounds went pretty convincingly to KARN and Co. on a tear here on the defense, whereas Core Academy, our normal attacker powerhouses, have yet to get in stride. So, Painless, big question. What is one thing Core Academy have to do, right? What's the most important thing they can do to get themselves back on track here in our first split of consulate?
I mean, I think they just, like I mentioned before, they need to not isolate themselves. They need to be able to play these trades properly. They need to play crossfires and not let Carnico just have their way with this other team. And like it's it's been, like I mentioned, it's been an issue for the entire group stage from Core Academy, where they end up taking these like unnecessary 1v1s. They end up kind of sitting where they don't need to for too long. They might have teammates kind of in the next room, but they're not ready to play trades and play crosses. It's been a persistent issue, and I think they need to fix that if they want to have any success. They're on the attack, so that what that means for them is they need to make sure that they're properly pinching, make sure they're calling things, counting things down, 3-2-1ing, the fundamentals, everything of that nature. So if they're not doing that, they need to start doing that. And if they have been doing that, well, they need to do it better.
Absolutely. We've not seen many trades coming through. We saw a couple in the last round from Core Academy, but just not enough health and not enough intel, I think, was the big one as the time was ticking down there. So we'll see if they can replicate it this time around. I know I made the point last time, but Core Academy did take these upstairs offices, like, fairly soon on. They lost one player for it, the Deimos, the Scary, but were able to trade him right back and then had control. It was really after that where the rest of the attack fell apart. So I think if they can build on that, at the very least, they should have a pretty good foothold in the offices. They can kind of replicate what worked right for them in round one.
Yeah, most definitely. So they have an opportunity to right the wrongs of the first time they attacked this site. Looks like they want to go for something relatively similar for the kind of take maybe a little bit more focus over on the admin side, which might be good depending on how they play this. Pre-fires and pressure just being applied to make sure that they don't get aggressed on too much. A little Zofia stun to make sure that the Goyo doesn't feel too confident in swinging out onto that window. Cuts being held elsewhere on the map, and some presence in admin as they have swung in.
Yeah, DD got in there soon. Also, Soapy is just outside. Oh, sorry. Thought that was the sentry for a minute. Oh my gosh, those two portraits being so similar trips me up every time. Just thinking that's a crazy run out. That's because it's not a run out at all. Scary now. With control admin, and this time does it without having to go down, so no teammates need to make that trade just yet. And as I say, Caster's Curse, Deity takes him out. Nice play from the Guayo with the deployable shield here. There's no nade denial, so gotta think Scary could have hit the shield from where he was. Unfortunately, just mispositioned a tiny bit, and now Adept taking care of all these Goyo charges. Very well played here by the Twitch.
Again, the same issue I've been harping on. Just I taking these 1v1s and just isolating themselves, trying to go for these ego swings to get the kills that they want. And Scary, prime example, tries to swing on the vending shield by himself. Could have maybe used some utility to get rid of the shield. Instead, just dies. He doesn't get traded. There's no trade potential. They can't do anything. So now he leaves his team in a man deficit. They still have to try to clear their shield. There's still utility for the top spiral, but the desk is opened up here, and they just decide to start flooding through, actually. Lucky gets 2 kills for his trouble, and they do manage to stunt the person top spiral from pushing any further, but it's a 3v3 now. There was only a minute left remaining. They don't have a ton of utility to work with anymore.
No, they do not. It's really just some smoke grenades and Nash charged it. Probably is not going to do much. Sees ahead of Vic, and he'll hit it. Kaysen with the first kill here on the rehost as Vic Bands goes down. Lucky on top of Spiral, still in an important position. I think the yellow mine is still above that door, though, so we'll have to be careful pushing in. Adept starts to put the plant down, but there's a C4 held here from Carnage. They have to know the bandit's here, but it might not matter. The diffuser's in. The diffuser should be down, but Adept hits it with the 417. What a shot from the Twitch. Now running, he'll stop the diffuser, but not the kill after. It's a double for Kaysen. Now it's all on Foresight here with the smoke grenades. He's not hitting the right corner, needs to get that second one out. And Kaysen now getting damaged. Has to re-put this diffuser down. Just 10 seconds of smoke. We'll get the first. Now it's all on Lecky. Needs a triple kill to win this round, but it won't happen. It's a double from Foresight and another round for KARN & Co. They cannot be stopped.
A huge mistake in the dying moments of that round. You saw the diffuser get most of the way planted, but there was, I don't know what it was. Maybe a missed call, maybe a lack of trust, maybe it was messed up audio. Regardless of the case, uh the case was falling off. They stopped the plant. They tried to instead go for the 1v1, but he couldn't really see. The smoke was in his face. And well, then Smoke the operator was in his face after shooting him in his face. So at that point the 1v1s get isolated and plant doesn't go down. Once again, even in those dying seconds, just isolating themselves, taking 1v1s where they don't need to, and just not playing off of their teammates like well enough to win out these rounds. It's permeating like every single thing that they do at this point. It's happened multiple times in just that round, and it's probably the main reason that they're losing these rounds. They're down 0-4 now. Granted, it is consulate, but they're missing a lot of the fundamentals that they need to win these rounds out. They need to change something up soon, or this is just going to trend even further in KARN & Co.'s favor.
It really will. Now, an important round here for Core Academy. They're going to stick Case in here on the Amaru. It's going to be trying to take that top floor pressure very early on. Using the shotgun as well, so not very forgiving. We'll see how it works out for him. There is a player on the second floor. It's going to be Vic Bands here on the Legion, and the pre-plays from Adept is not going to see the Legion and walks right by it. This could be really, really bad, but I think he heard the goo mine. The Vic Bands just are out, and now the drone will confirm it. They are going to see the Legion. Should be able to get some sort of ping onto them. Reminder, Jackal not reworked yet, so should get a couple foot pings on here. Scary will step on the first goo mine, so now at the very least, they know that they are close, and Deity upstairs as well. Going to be a firefight on the second floor, and this is one that Core Academy need to win if they want this round.
Site is in the basement, but the first point of entry is going to be in through this top floor. They can kind of work the vert into piano to eventually get the main breach open, maybe play the vert from there, and the defense is elected to give that up. They're instead playing long angles all the way over on tellers, so the attack Core Academy needs to be careful if they do eventually take into Piano and Expo, because they'll have to worry about those long angles. They have the castle to facilitate them sitting over in the tellers area of the map. They have plenty of rotates to move around as they need, and they have the staircase and hatches that they can drop down too. So they need to be careful once they eventually move their way onto the first floor, but half the round is gone, and there's still a ton of attackers on this top floor. They need to speed things up just a bit if they want to get to this execute in good time.
Kesa now has moved into Expo, but still has to be careful because Zach is not holding the long angle anymore, fell back inside of servers, but can very easily reestablish that. The problem is, though, they have not drawn Deity, and they probably won't on the Mozzie, and now Vic Band sees one going to the sitting area. He knows who it is. We'll see if they can get the kill onto Adept, who's still sitting in there. Don't believe Adept knows that he's been spotted from Spiral, and no, he hasn't. He's more focused on the players inside of Tellers. It's only Deity over there right now. But they have to get this pressure. 45 seconds to go, and the attackers need to make something happen because time is ticking low, and they have not dealt with these roamers at all. They are leaving themselves very vulnerable to a late game flank, and right as that happens, Foresight takes down the first. And here comes the second. Deity, no idea from Kaysen that he's sneaking up. There goes the first kill. Core Academy down 2, and they still have not gotten the trade.
30 seconds left in the round, and they're trying to hunt for the trade now, but it might be too little too late. They wasted way too much time on the top floor. Scary he knows that Deity's there. Deity did not fall off that position, so he's able to get the trade there. He gets another onto KARN, actually, and another kill from Lecky takes down Foresight, and suddenly the man advantage dwindles a ton. But now Zach is left in a 1v3. He stops the diffuser and tries to run outside, maybe just for a little bit of cover in the dying moments of the round, but he doesn't get out in time. Wow, that was Core Academy gets that win under their belt, but it was way closer than it should have been.
And I was thinking that entire time that it was going to go to KARN & Co., right? I mean, it was, what, 5v3, 5v3, 4v3?
5v2 even.
With about 10 seconds left. And then they just all die. The mirror swings at the wrong time, taken down by Scary on the Twitch. Or Lecky on the Twitch, rather. I think that's a big one. If the mirror's still alive there's no way they get all those kills on time without a diffuser going down. Yeah, Foresight just swings at the wrong time. Love the plan led by Zach to run outside so he can't die, but caught at the tail end by the player playing above. So Core Academy finally with one on the board, but still, you want to get another. Going down 5-1 on Consulate. Not the best. It's also not the worst to take a lot of defensive rounds, but with those stats you mentioned earlier, Core Academy need a bigger advantage going into their struggling defensive halves.
Yeah, and I imagine even on a map like Consulate, 38% defensive win rate is kind of difficult to really make a case for, even for Consulate. So yeah, they do want to at least get a 2-4 half. They KARN is going to repeat the tertiary site of the middle floor, so they do have a chance to attack in what is supposedly an easier to attack bomb site, so they can maybe try to take advantage of that. But you're gonna have to contend with all these players, all these defenders on the top floor, and look at this lineup. They have Capcan, Legion, Ella, Goyo. That's going to be so many traps, so much area denial, and as a result, time denial of just making sure that they don't give themselves up too quickly and take a bunch of damage, chip damage ahead of time. You're gonna have to make sure that they drone things out properly. They also have to make sure that they don't take up too much time. And look at this, another isolated 1v1. He almost loses his life, Adept, to the Goyo of Deity. Luckily, he doesn't. He only takes about half of his HP worth of damage, but Core Academy just can't help but face check these angles.
Yeah, something that needs to change. Now the Twitch turn should be taken out by the Goyo here, but I don't think he gets to pop that canister, or so we just completely missed the audio cue. And no, it does not go down to Deity, still sitting on that angle. Soapy down to about 1 HP as well, and Lecky stepped on a goo mine. Core Academy are just taking chip damage from all over the map. Finally now going to pop the rest of these Goyos so they can start pushing forward. But already half the round wasted. They have a couple players on low health. This is not looking promising. KARN just need to sit and wait for the attackers to challenge these angles. Nella on the doorway might do just that, but Kaysen at the last moment will pull off. Knows there's going to be one by the window as well, so won't want to push in too aggressively. Foresight going to go for the swing, and the flashbangs will do nothing to the Warden. I don't think they know that Goyo's sitting behind the shelf.
No, they definitely don't. He's just going to sit there and rat as long as he can. There's no reason for him to really move. He's going to run out to bait the air jabs, and now that they know he's here, there's going to be a swing onto the balcony as well. It's not going to end up getting the kill, and actually, Core Academy is in the man advantage right now, and they're swimming all around the top floor. Gonna force these defenders out. Deity is stuck on this window. He's contending with Soapy on this balcony, and finally, Soapy's team comes to help him. Scary kills Deity, takes the player off of the projector window. There's still one more defender to contend with, and that's the Ella. Vic Bands trying to get at least one pick back, but he can't do it. He does some damage, but he eventually goes down anyways, and now KARN, the last one alive on a 1v4, needs to try to get these last kills. He gets the first onto Adept. He drops back into the site through the hatch. There's only 30 seconds left. He needs to try to waste some time, needs to try to isolate some of these kills. He gets another. Soapy goes down, the player who's on 1 HP. He now can isolate these gunfights even further. He has so much to work with now, and 15 seconds left on the clock means that the attack is going to be scrambling, and Kaysen goes down. Carnage in a 1v4 pulls it off, takes down Kaysen and Scary both, and KARN is king, not letting Core Academy get their second round victory. When it was right in their grasp, it slips through their fingers.
The ace from Carnage in the 1vx, getting it done when it matters the most. KARN & Co looking nothing but dominant here on this map. They only need 2 more rounds to propel themselves into the game against Shubes. Luckily, as a reminder for anybody watching at home, it's not single game elimination, so Core Academy still with a bit of a lifeline if they lose this one. But the Legion ace, masterfully done. I don't know how Core Academy dropped that. They had a lot of time too. They had 30 seconds in that 3v1 to make something happen, and Soapy just goes down pushing the wrong angle. Nothing the attackers can do on that. It was a great attempt, but KARN & Co are holding strong, and you gotta imagine there are not many scenarios where they don't win this game.
Yeah, and that's got to be a big moment. The IGL of KARN winning at that round in the 1v4, really expertly played around the angles that he needed to, positioned himself how he needed to, and it's really nice when you see some of the older players still have it in them, still manage to get these big moments, these clutch moments. Really nice to see for KARN in particular, and it ends up putting KARN & Co up 5-1 instead of potentially 4-2, meaning that they have a little bit more room for error now. They have plenty of chances now to close this out in regulation and move themselves on to the next round. And the side swap happens, so now they're going to be holding the top floor. They're going to be playing a lot of this time denial, similarly area denial, smoke, Goyo, Legion, that sort of thing. They're going to be playing a little bit spread out as well, just to make sure that they're covering as much of the map as possible. But the attacking lineup from KARN and Co. looks very specific for what they want to go for.
We'll see if it works out for them. Right now, we're stuck in 4v4 as Scary will even the man count there with a kill onto Deity. The Ash going down first, so not a whole ton of utility lost, and it doesn't look like they took the deployable shield here for the upstairs site, so didn't really need the Ash charges either. Crunch downstairs is going to be very useful in popping these Goyo cans and these bulletproof cans, held by Lecky. We'll see if the Twitch is able to do their job. Minute and 50 seconds remaining, and just like Core Academy on their attack, KARN and Co have taken these CEO offices very, very quickly. See if they can transition that into a round win, though, something Core Academy were not able to do on their rounds.
I think the important thing is for attacking from the admin side of the map is you need some kind of counter pressure coming from elsewhere. Maybe someone pushing up yellow stairs, maybe down the yellow skylight, maybe coming up spiral stairs, some other kind of pressure. Because if they let themselves just bottleneck in from this side of the map without any sort of like shield operator, it's going to be difficult to do so, but they're going to try to do so anyways. Foresight swinging in, takes down Soapy, and suddenly the man advantage is in their favor. That said, Kaysen gets the trade, Foresight goes down, and there's a wherewithal to look at spiral stairs. KARN takes him down anyways, though. Nade rolls out, pushing Scary out of position. He needs to try to swing out. He does. He takes down Zach, and the man count keeps going back and forth, back and forth. We're down to a 2v2 with 50 seconds left.
Core Academy need this round win on a big site. We'll see if they're able to do so. Player inside a copy room, push out, need to get the kill onto the main desk, and they will do it. Scary now at 9 kills. It's a triple for Scary, and 30 seconds remaining. Scary taking on Vic Bands, one of those big name players where KARN and Co has been struggling to get it going in this set. No bigger time than right now can vault KARN and Co up to match point. See if it happens. Diffuser recovered, but there is still a smoke grenade from Scary. Last one being used, and now Vic Bands has to push through the site. SMG-11 in hand. Only needs one shot onto the Ash. Full blind of the Ash needs to push now, and they'll do it. Vic Bands with the kill. The Striker gets it done, and KARN and Co go on to match point.
Yeah, and that was one of the 2 attacking rounds that they need to push themselves into the next round of the GSL bracket. Of course, if they do end up winning this, they will be going up against Space Tubes in a best of 3, but they got to get there first. Have to win one more round on their attacking half, and they have so many chances to do so. All they need to do is win once. They can make plenty of mistakes. I'm sure they don't want to, but there's plenty of room for error. Moving to the next round, it's likely going to be a basement defense if I were to guess. I want to see Core Academy try to pull this back, but the issues that they've been having throughout the season and throughout this match as well have still been persisting. Actually, we run it back onto the top floor. Maybe they think that they didn't play it wrong. They just made a couple of mistakes. Well, that sounds weird, but maybe they want to change up the strat. They want to try it again. They want to see if they can pull it off this time. And it's going to be another top floor defense. Switched up the operators just a little bit, and there's the Azami we were talking about before, being brought by Core Academy. But yeah, the issues with Core Academy of just playing too isolated from one another have just still been persisting. There was a little bit of good play coming in the dying moments of that last round, the 2v2, where Scary went to pinch the the attacker top spiral, manages to put it into a 1v1. But yeah, I need to see more.
And we'll see if they're going to show more this round. Core Academy on the wrong side of a match point. KARN and Co can put this series away right now, and they're rolling with a different lineup. Being brought here by Foresight, and they have an Amaru and a Glass as well. Oh, they're going to try it. They're just going to go for the plant. The Amaru is going to swing in. Here come the Candelas, and KARN and Co are looking to put in the dagger. Diffuser starting to go down. That's going to be Carnage getting it all the way to the floor. Can the defenders stop it? Yes, they can. Kaysen with the Deagle will get the shot through the smoke. Here comes a Glaz. Deity with the kill onto Soapy. Foresight with another, and Kaysen with a double on the window has completely shut down KARN and Co's push. Now they need to readjust because this Azami is not letting it happen. Triple for Deity and a kill by Lecky to shut it down. We are down into a 2v2 and only a minute has passed.
Only a minute has passed indeed, and pretty much all of the utility out of the Ying has been used. There's still some lion skins that can be used, but use of Azami to great effect to make it so that they could get across the angle, make sure that the glass could not properly cover the Amaru trying to go for the plant. They're able to cross into the desk. They're able to just fire into the smoke after that, take down the diffuser, is able to get the second player who swung in afterwards. Really nice stuff out of Kaysen and out of Core Academy in particular, or as a whole rather, to shut that down, play it how they needed to. So still in a 2v2. There's still a chance that they could lose this, but they have the diffuser down cold. They know where these players are going to be coming from. They have plenty of information, and they have a minute left to work with. If they can shut down at least one of these players, play together for the most part, the most important part that is, they can shut this down before they have a chance to get it back rolling again. 45 seconds left. Last line scan comes out, and the push is likely to start coming in through soon.
Just 40 seconds remaining. Kaysen so close to the angle, held here by Vic Bands, the hero of round number 7 for KARN & Co. Can you repeat into round 8? Barely missing the shots here onto Lecky, who's behind the softball. They know where the mute is, and they'll get the kill, but it's a triple for Kaysen. Make it a quadra, and Core Academy stay alive. Hero plays from the Azami, as they will see at least one more round.
And there it was. After they shut down the initial push, at that point, all they need to do is play just a little bit passive. They shut down the snowball effect that could have happened a little bit towards the latter half of that first minute, where it was a 3v3 for just a moment. So yeah, at that point, just sit still, rat, hold your spots. You don't need to do anything at that point. They don't have any more utility that they can use to really force you out. Sure, there was maybe like a nade, but they didn't really have the information to act on it. And yeah, Kaysen doing a lot of work in that round to really shut down the initial push, using the Azami barriers to make some space, shut down the angles so that they couldn't be used against him, shutting down the plant, basically shutting down the round as a whole. So really nice stuff out of him, and now they have the opportunity to go onto the basement. Another one of those main kind of primary / secondary sort of sites that a lot of teams will tend to go for. Curious to see how they decide to hold it. They've decided to go for a bit of a roam strat. They have the Vigil, they have the Solus, they have the Legion. It's going to be, I imagine, the Vigil and the Solus playing the top floor, maybe Lecky playing the mid floor with the Legion and the secondary shotgun to make some rotates, open things up for the two roamers to move around just a little bit. Scary and Soapy probably going to play more towards the site. Maybe Goyo even playing on that mid floor with the Legion, assuming that's how they go for it. But I've noticed that Kaysen has been loving the Solus. He's been playing in a lot of these matches. How many matches have you seen of Core Academy, Kingfisher?
You know, I think prior to this, I've only cast him once, but yeah, I think Kaysen played it like 4 out of 36 defensive rounds, so I'm definitely familiar with it, and I like it. I think Solus is a great operator. I can't play her worth anything, but clearly he can. P90, obviously one of the fan favorite weapons in Rainbow Six, and when you're fragging like this, leading the team, definitely play whatever you're comfortable on. We'll see just how much use he can make of it, though. There's really not a whole ton to see from this team, honestly, until the diffuser goes down. There's about 0 gadgets you need Solus to counter.
Actually, you can basically get wall hacks onto the Blitz. So wherever the Blitz is, if he has a shield out. No, that's still a thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Never
it's an
mind
electrical
then.
gadget. Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay,
Solus can effectively get wall hacks onto the Blitz if he's able to use his scanner in the right position. So that could maybe come into effect later in the round. For now, though, seems like the top floor has mostly been taken by KARN & Co. to start working this vert. They have the Ram and the Buck to start doing just that. They have some extra soft breach charges to boot on the Ace. They have plenty of hard breach as well with the Ace and the Habana. So at this point, they just need to force these players out of the mid floor, make sure that they can't rat. And speaking of ratting, there is a player, I think it's Adept, sitting in the corner of X position. Needs to be careful that he doesn't get forced out or spotted. Really nice shot out of Scary to take down Vic Bands on the hatch. He was not going to come out of that one alive, but now he's facing down a Blitz. He's still alive for now, and actually he takes him down. He wins the 1v1 on the Blitz. Meanwhile, on the top floor, people are trying to cross left and right. The cutoffs aren't quite working out, and suddenly it's a 5v3 from Core Academy. It's actually crazy that nobody lost their lives from Core Academy, considering not only the situation with Scary, but the fact that Kaysen just sprinted across Deity's crosshair and didn't die.
And he's going to sprint across it again. We'll see who gets a kill, and it is going to be Deity getting one onto Kaysen. Now a Scary on low HP as well. We are close to an even man count, but it still favors Core Academy. holding on for dear life. Adept is still upstairs, the side of Expo. The rest of the team is now retreated to the basement. Ace Alive, no sale must use, can try to get it onto the Black Mirror there, but it won't matter because Adept has revealed himself as Deity Falls. They know they have to deal with this Legion, and Adept is going to run right into a second. He will not get the kill, though, so it's going to be Zach to shut it down. Scary on low HP, Scary on no HP. Zach gets a kill from above, and now we're in a 2v2. But look at the time, there's only 10 seconds. These attackers need to drop this hatch, and the defenders know it, but neither of them die on the drop. Lecky takes one, Soapy takes the other, and Core Academy are staying alive here in round number 9.
Yeah, just barely pulling out those last 2 rounds to keep themselves alive. They can't afford any more mistakes though, and now that they've won the top floor and the basement, they'll have to go to one of the tertiary sites, which aren't the most. There's a reason they're tertiary sites. There's a reason that most teams don't favor them. It's because they're a little bit more difficult to hold. We're gonna be going to Piano Exposition, which you typically need to hold the top floor within CEO. That shot was so nice out of Scary. But yeah, they're gonna be holding the top floor for the most part, kind of similar to the more like CEO focused kind of hold that you would do for the top floor site. Gonna play a lot within projector, maybe within the like the balcony room. I think it was called catering. I think I heard it called
catering.
Yeah, and they're gonna be just playing around that and like the CEO area of the map, playing it relatively similar. They have the Azami, they have plenty of information to know with the Mozzie and the Solus as well, and I think that is actually a good choice. I was trying to look at some KARN & Co VODs. I know we're pretty much towards the end of this map, assuming KARN & Co could get one more of the line, but it was hard to find any glaring issues with KARN & Co. The only thing that I saw is that sometimes they're kind of starved for information, maybe just using their drones a little bit too early, getting them shot just a little bit. So I actually like the Solus and the Mozzie for a lot of these setups. I think it has good effect on KARN & Co in particular, so want to see if maybe that ends up having an effect. They'll have the Azami and the Legion, like I mentioned earlier, to kind of extend the roam a little bit onto that top floor and make things just a little bit more comfortable. They got to try to hold on to it, though. And with the Blitz on the board and a Ying, that's going to be difficult.
Yes, it will. We'll see if they're able to get it done. 45 seconds passed into this round and not a whole ton occurring. One player sitting on Repel here, just waiting to swing in onto Adept. Has to be careful with the window below him as well because of those holes in the floor. So he can take a little bit damage from the Capital Bolt. Now blinded is the Legion. They're just running it straight in on site. And Lecky gonna get the first kill onto Foresight. Zach goes down as well, and we're in a 5v3. And now Carnage is left with no support, no life, and a triple kill for Scary, who goes down. And now the man count starts to even up. They've taken the second floor, but it doesn't matter. What a round. Lightning Speed and Core Academy somehow come out on top.
Yeah, as an attempt at a rush out of KARN & Co to kind of just put this one to bed, you'd think maybe with tertiary site, considering it is the most easy to do so, they tried to go for it. They had the Ying playing on the Repel on CEO window to prevent any of the Vert from being held. They had the Blitz come in from yellow side. I think they had a player behind him as well. They tried to make their way in through that way, but it didn't end up working out. They were just ended up getting shut down anyways. Rest of the players on Core Academy pulled themselves back from other areas of the map to help with the rush and the push that was happening. Thankfully as well, they also had the Warden, very important considering the fact that KARN & Co had brought both a Ying and a Blitz. He's immune to all of those flash effects, and he's able to still fight them anyways and keep his teammates a little bit safer as a result. So, really well played out of Core Academy to shut down that rush and not let them do what they wanted to do. And now that they've won the tertiary site, they have the opportunity to go back onto the top floor, and then if they win this round, back into the basement. So they've gone over the hurdle of winning their tertiary site, and at this point all they need to do is do what they did a few rounds ago and a couple rounds ago, and they can bring this into overtime to potentially clinch out the victory.
It would be difficult, but it is possible. KARN & Co, they've needed one round now for going on their fourth in Core Academy. Credit to their slow start. They have been standing up when it matters the most. We'll see if they can do it just 2 last times. It's a couple seconds gone by, and KARN & Co taking a pretty similar lineup to the rest. My only problem is they really don't have a lot of tools for executing a plan if they need to. They have smoke grenades on Twitch. That's it. Everything else has to be guns, has to be coverage. If Core Academy are able to identify this early, they can just sit back and wait for KARN to push, because they're going to be at a serious disadvantage if they have to.
Yeah, there's a serious lack of hard breach, meaning that these break room walls are going to stay closed for the most part until the attackers get into admin, if they ever get into admin. Even if that's the case, Foresight is the only one with any hard breaching capabilities, and it's the hard breach charges on the Grim. So hopefully, if hard breaching isn't something that they really wanted to do, it's not really that big of an issue, but even so, they'll have to deal with a lot of area denial. One of the Go-Yo canisters will get popped thanks to that nade, and they are taking some space up into the vending hallway. Takes down the Banshee on the other side of that pillar, and they're making a lot of good space here.
And they're doing it in a timely fashion as well. They have control of the hallway, CEO, and vending, the most important position within half of this round. Core Academy have lost a lot of ground, but like you said, without the hard breach, this is still going to be very difficult to push in. Grimby's onto Soapy here, so they know exactly where the Malusi is, but Deity can't hit the pixel. Unfortunate for Karnikos. They're still trying to push forward. Zach goes down. Going to be traded out, though, as Vic Bands takes down Scary. Left into a 4v4 at the moment, but the health bars of Core Academy are low. Kaysen and Adept both near half HP, so the attack was something to work, and they're still careful about a flank, but there is nobody on the first floor. They just have to push into these long angles now that are held by Core Academy.
Yeah, and 50 seconds left in the round. It's still a 4v4, as there was a trade that happened top spiral, but at this point they can start to try to make their way in. No more B canisters. Diffuser's getting planted. Projector plant starting to go down, but it's denied by the Nitrocell. KARN gets a kill. Vic Bands gets another, and it's looking like it might be another round, the last one that they need. KARN winning out Consulate against Core Academy. KARN Academy. 7-4.
There you go. The KARN Academy falls. KARN moving on. They will face the Space Tubes in a best of 3 later tonight. But luckily for all the Core Academy fans at home, it is not the end of the world. Them and Omamas will still have some games to play to see which one of the second teams will be moving into the playoffs. There's a lot at stake. There is still a lot of Rainbow Six Siege to be played between both these teams. But still, how dominant KARN first half was. If I was the Shubes, I'd be a little nervous going against them. They definitely faltered a little bit on the attack, but I think you can chalk some of that up to the map, right? That's just what happens on Consulate.
Yeah, it definitely is. A lot more typical than the first matchup that we had, where it was a very attacker-sided Consulate. It was much more defender-sided this time around, which is what we would come to expect. And yeah, unsurprising that after the 5-1 lead that KARN was able to establish, they were eventually able to shut it down and win another 2 rounds. It started to get a little close, but yeah.
Yeah, they get it done when it matters the most. KARN moving on. As we said, they'll play Space Tubes later, so it's going to be a really good matchup. You were able to watch the first one. I still haven't seen them play in these play-ins, but I know they are a phenomenal team, and the few times we saw them in the regular season, they look nothing short dominant all the time, so I'm really excited to see what we have in store. But if you're them, right, you're watching this, you're looking at what you just saw in KARN, are there any weaknesses you think they have to shore up before they go and face the Shoops?
I'm not really sure. I think they played it relatively well. Like I was mentioning, maybe information gathering, but other than that, I think for the most part they play the fundamentals really well. They play off of one another really well. They know how to play these executes. They know how to play aggressive. They can change the pace when they need to. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for Space Tubes to find a weakness to try to exploit it. So I think what Space Tubes needs to do is play into their own game and make it so KARN has a tough time with them as well.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to do that. We're going to throw to a short break, but make sure you stay tuned. There is another best of 3 on the docket tonight, and it's going to be a good one. The winner will advance to our playoffs. So we'll be right back. Make sure you keep watching, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.